Hello guys, and welcome to this tutorial in which I'm going to show you the most exciting features of Sketch workflow. If you are a UI or UX designer and you've heard of Sketch but you've never used it, here are some things that will let you dive in Sketch awesomeness and find yourself on the other side of the mirror. If you already work with Sketch, I hope this overview will let you and Sketch become even better friends. So let's get started. Okay, so first, basic stuff. I'm going to paste some layers. Those are just groups, and inside there are vector layers. So let me stack them together like so, and if you try to scale them with shift to hold proportions, you'll see that the strokes are not scaling and it doesn't look so good. So you can use the scale function in Sketch, so Command K, and use the scale function like 300 or so. You can scale them within pixels and you can scale from any side, and as you see the strokes scale beautifully as well. So I press OK, then I select the first one and let me place it somewhere here, then select all of the groups and just distribute the spacing of them. So now I'm going to create first artboard, so I press A and I select the device, for example iPhone 7, and let me put all those groups inside this artboard and select them and group all together, let's say avatars. Okay, so if I have my avatars in place, I'm gonna scroll through them. Okay, we'll do that later. Right now, let's imagine that you want to add some background to your application. I know it's not that hard to imagine. And click on the iPhone 7's name, so the artboard's name, and then select background color. You can select whatever background you like. And one advantage of it is that you can scale it. So for example, do a responsive version, iPad, iPhone, horizontal version, and it scales with this artboard. It's not always ideal though. You can create it with simple rectangle and just fill all of the artboard. And if you fill all of the artboard and you go to the artboard and you try to scale it, it won't scale. But if you select adjust content size on resize, it will. And in addition, you can select in new sketch, you can select this rectangle and choose some resizing options. For example, pin this shape to all of the sides of the artboard and it will scale seamlessly. In addition, you can add multiple fills. So if you click there, you can have one fill, but with the same layer selected, you can add another fill. For example, let's have some gradient here, and you have two fills. So that's nice. If you don't want it, just get rid of it like so. And I can change the name of this layer to BG and show you some other cool feature of Sketch, which is symbols. If you've never used symbols before, it's like, oh, it's huge. So you can make some symbol out of a layer or a group by just creating a symbol with this icon. And what happens now, it sends it to a special symbols page. If you go to this page, you have this BG, you can select it, and you can, for example, change the background color. And if you go back to your page 1, as you see, this color has changed. I know it's not that revolutionary, but if you have multiple instances of one symbol, so if you duplicate this artboard and you have 3 artboards like so, you have all of those BGs being instance of one symbol. And if you change anything in this symbol, an original symbol on symbols page, so for example, if you make this background color darker, you can go back to page 1 and take a look. All of these instances are now darker. So let me get rid of one and change the layers like so. And right now create another rectangle. It will be the top of my application, and let me give it a name. So it will be avatar up. Okay. Now let's center it both horizontally and vertically, and having selected those 2 layers, let me create a symbol out of these 2 layers. I'll give it a name top. And I can, for example, now go to this second artboard and say symbol. Okay, there's my top. I can place the top inside. I can reset the values of X and Y axis and go inside the symbol. So whatever you do inside the symbol will be in all of the instances. So if you change the color, you change the color of all of the instances. Okay, but you can do something that's called overwrites, and it's pure magic in Sketch. If you go there to overwrites, you see avatar up. It's the name of this layer. If I go inside, I have avatar up here. If I change it to info, I can go back to instances and there is info. So I can say whatever I want, for example, a character, and it's overwritten. So you can override the text fields that are inside symbols. Not only text fields, you can override also images that are inside symbols. And you can override symbols itself. For example, you can create a copy of this top. Let me duplicate this, and let's say this is top alt version. And let's change some colors. Maybe let's change the fill color, okay? And now when I go back to page 1, now if you decide that on this second artboard you want to swap this top to an alt version, you can select top alt, and as you see, the magic happened, and it's smart enough to figure out that the overwrites were there. So the overwrites are still here, and we have character, but we have this second version of our top. Okay, let me switch to this first one. Let me go back to symbols page, and it's still not enough. Let me change maybe the field to yellow again and import some icons. I use icon jar to manage my icons. It's pretty nice, and I just drag and drop here. I want to change the size of these icons, so I Command K and scale it to 150%. And what I do is I position this icon here, this icon there, those icons like so, and I can create symbols inside other symbols so that I can nest them. So how do I do that? I select the skull and I create a symbol out of it. I press OK. I select this guy as well, create a symbol. And let me do some 2 more symbols out of the 2 icons that I have underneath. I can select and delete those instances, and I have all the symbols here and nested symbols inside my top symbol. So let me change the name. So skull, maybe icon 1 and icon 2. Now when I go back to page, I can select the instance, and now I have this overwrites of icon 1 and icon 2, and I can select whatever icon I choose. So I can use this guy here and maybe a skull over there. And how does he figure out that there shouldn't be, like, I don't know, maybe top or background? Well, that's pretty cool because he knows by the size. So if you go inside the symbol, you see that this is 36 by 36 pixels. And if you see all of the symbols that are swappable, you can see that they are also 36 by 36. That's why he doesn't want to swap top or, I don't know, background, for example. Okay, so that's really amazing. That's the thing that you keep using all the time in your projects, because it's so useful. You can create one symbol and then reuse it. And if you want to change something, if you want to override the image or the text, you just use the override. If you want to override the icons, you can use this nested symbols override. So it's complete system that lets you introduce this atomic design principles to your design. Okay, so let's do something else. Let's change this object. Okay, this guy. We want only this guy. We don't want any other avatars here on this second screen. We want to scale this guy to, I don't know, maybe 70%. Okay, and place it here. And I like to draw something else, maybe a rectangle, and just make a border radius like that. We'll fill that with white color and place it here. Now I'm going to use the text and say maybe Alexander. It's the name of our hero. Okay, let's add some description here, and okay, and let's group all these layers all together. So I have 3 layers. I Command G group them, and I say that's, for example, description. And I use the same description, so I copy it from there and I put it in this first artboard, so it stays right there. Okay, so now let's make an animation out of it and let's make a prototype. So I save the sketch file and I go to Principle, which is a great app that can import sketch files. So I import my file with the scale of 2x, and I'll wait here until my assets are loaded into Principle. And as you see, I have my artboards. Oh, I don't have background here, so let's fix it. So let's copy the background from this layer and from this artboard and set it there. Okay, and right now I can select my avatars and I can set the horizontal behavior to page. If I do that, I need to scale the size of this component
like so. And if you see on this preview, I can now switch the heroes by just swiping left and right, and it works like a charm, okay? So now I want to make this guy clickable, so let's select the right avatar. This is group 2, and let's click on this small icon, which will let me choose the second screen as a transition after a tap on this guy. So if I tap on this guy, I transition to another screen. And I don't know if you noticed, but if I click, I have auto animation. So if there are layers that have the same names, so there's a description and there's a description. Inside this description, I have Alexander and rectangle 2, and here I have Alexander and rectangle 2. If you have the same names between artboards, they will animate automatically. So I don't need to do anything. So I can select the avatar, I can click and take a look at this little guy. It slides up, and that's simply because on the first screen it was down there, and on the second screen it just went up. So as you see, it's so much fun. It's so simple and easy. If you get to know the tools, you can just achieve great results in very short time. So let me go back to Sketch. Another cool tip in Sketch is creating layouts that scale seamlessly to some different screen sizes. If you select the artboard, you can set the option Adjust Content on Resize, and then when you try to resize, it scales, but it doesn't do a decent job out of the box. You have to go inside the symbols and layers and groups and set the resizing options. So for the skull, I set the resizing to be pinned to left and fixed width and height. For the pants, I also set the fixed width and height, and I pin them to right. I don't need to do anything with the text because it's centered, but for the background, I stretch it between left and right. And I return to the instance, and right now I can select the artboard and try to scale, and as you see, it scales really, really well. And this group almost worked out of the box, but if you want to resize it, for example, to stretch it from left and right and just leave the margin, you can do it, and as you see, it works really great. So the last thing I need to adjust is this guy, so this group 33. I need to set the fixed width and height, so I unlock these options, and I also set the pin to top so that it stays in the center, but with the margin from the top. So now I can create different screens and scale my layout. And as you see, Sketch allows you to create components that can be reusable on some different screen sizes, and it's very helpful. Okay, so let's switch to some other example. I'm going to do one more screen in the app I'm working on, and I'm going to select the artboard and just duplicate it with Command D, then Command 2, Command minus. I'm going to zoom and get rid of all the things I don't need on the screen. And you have a symbol here, and this symbol is repeated throughout all my screens. And thanks to the nested symbols inside, I can now switch the button state. So I'm going to turn off the curtains with the icon curtain symbol, and I'm going to turn on this alarm clock, and I have alarm here, and I'm going to go to alarm active. As you see, you can reuse this one symbol and just switch the state. So right now I'm going to use one more symbol. It's the line with section title. So I'm going to place it here. It says general here, but I can override it to repeat. And now let's zoom to repeat, and let's try to make 8 icons here. I'm going to make one rectangle that will cover the width of all the icons. Okay, now in Sketch, in each input you have here, in each field, you can place mathematical operations. So for example, you can add, you can subtract, you can divide, you can multiply, and let's divide it by 8. So we need 8 icons, and let's subtract 12 pixels so that we have margins between those icons, and we have around 27. So let's make it maybe 28 by 28. And now let's turn off the fill and turn on border with 1 pixel thickness, and maybe do a radius for the borders. And what I like to do, I like to duplicate it, and I can make grid out of it. So I select the symbol and I select make grid option. Now I have one row, and I need in this row I need 8 columns, and I have this 12 pixel margin. That's perfectly fine. I go with make grid, and I have grid, and it doesn't fit because I rounded those 28 by 28, but it really doesn't matter. I can just do it like that. Then I can select all of those shapes and distribute the position, and here we go. Okay, let's decrease the opacity of this selection by pressing 4. It's 40% opacity. And let's make another rectangle inside. It will be the active state. So let's change the color, maybe to this color, and let's make border radius as well. And let's position it in the center of this shape. Okay, now I'm going to use my text styles. I have plenty of text styles that I use throughout my whole application. So I have dark and light text. I'm going to use this description text with opacity of 20 and the size of 9. And I'm gonna give it a name once. So I'm going to repeat this once. Now I'm going to Alt copy it and then duplicate it, Command D, to all of these items. And now I'm gonna do it like that, select all of them, and again distribute those spacing. Okay, now you can change the names to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and so on. I'm not gonna do it because it's not the case here. Yes, we can do better. We can make better use of our time. So let's create an oval, and now let's duplicate it. But before, I'm going to decrease the opacity, duplicate it. Let's Command K, resize it to 140%. Now duplicate it again and resize it again to 130 maybe. That's fine. Now we're going to take this bottom layer to the top. We're going to change the color to the color of our background, and change the opacity. And now let's make some early alarm. Okay, 7:10. Let's put it there inside. And I'm going to show you some cool feature of Sketch. I'm going to draw a line, that's L on the keyboard. This is 2 pixel thick line. And I'm going to go to this layer and then Paths Rotate Copies command. And I need 12 hours. So I'm going to do 11 copies. So I have 12 layers in total. I press OK, and now I can rotate copies. I can put them there, somewhere there. Okay, that's fine. Now let's deal with those ovals. I'm going to select the ovals. I'm going to turn off the fill, and let me deal with this oval and create a border. And if you create a border, you can change the thickness, okay? And I can change the thickness like so. I need the border in the center. So now I need to scale this oval. So let's scale it with Alt and Shift, okay? And I'm going to show you a magic trick, okay? I'm going to do properties of this border, and I'm going to go to dash. I'm going to set dash to whatever, maybe 10, but the gap is much more important. You're going to check the size of this. It's 211, and then you're going to multiply that by the p number, so 314, and what you get if you now increase the dash. You see what's going on? Oh, it's so cool. Look, you can change the ends so that it's rounded, and that's brilliant, because while changing the dash, you can actually create this snail effect, okay? You can you can flip it, okay? So let's flip it, okay, like so, and now the dash is working like a charm, okay? So let's do 7, okay, it's around 7 here. Let's maybe change the color to some beautiful color. You can change the border color to whatever you wish, and including gradients. So let's make a beautiful gradient, and let's change the opacity. Okay, now I have a symbol here. Well, okay, I have a button. Yeah, I need a slider button, and let's put it there. We can duplicate. We need this button at the top. We can duplicate and make another copy, but yeah, let's not waste time. You've seen enough. Now, again, let's turn those screens I did into a prototype. So we're going to use Marvel for that. And you simply need to download and install the free plugin to Sketch. Then you select all of the artboards. And in this Marvel's plugin, you go to Sync Selected. And you sync the artboards. I can create new project. Let's call it Test. And let's make iPhone 7 portrait, create project. And let's wait. I need 2x. Okay, that's fine because I work at 1x. So let's export it to 2x and let's sync it. Okay, and you can see this beautiful little animation. And while we're doing it, we can log into our account on Marvel and to wait for our project. Okay, here we go. We can view the project. We can rearrange. We don't have to. We can go to view the first screen, and now we can prototype here. We can do a fixed header for scrolling, fixed footer. We can also draw some hotspots. So let's make a first hotspot here, and let it take us to the second screen with transition of maybe fade. Okay, now let's make a second hotspot to this third screen, and screen transition fade. Now we need to transition to the alarm screen there with fade effect, and also the last screen, which is this census screen with transition of fade. So now if we close that, we can duplicate all of those hotspots. So let's duplicate the first one and select all screens without lamps. Duplicate on 4 screens, then we duplicate this curtains to all instead of curtains. We also duplicate the alarm to all artboards, not alarm, okay, and the last one, maybe not the last one, because we also need this first screen, but we're going to do it on the second. So let's switch to the second screen and create the last hotspot for our home screen, okay, with the transition of fade, and also duplicate this hotspot to all instead of the first screen. Okay, so now we can play the prototype. So let's play the prototype. And there you go. There's an iPhone, and you can click through all of those artboards. And it's really cool. You can share this prototype. Yeah, it goes better than that. So you can go to share button, and you can share it with a text message. So I've already sent a text message to myself. You can send it to a colleague or a project owner or your teammate, and he'll get the link to this application. When I tap on it on my phone, I'm going to sort of install it on my phone, and I'm going to see this small icon on home screen. Of course, if I upload my own icon, it will be my own app icon, but you can just use it to test it directly on the phone. So it really works. So it's amazing, okay? And if you want to sync the changes that you make in Sketch, you can just sync select it again, and it will sync your prototype, and it will change on the phone as well. By the way, if you are here on the phone, you have also preview directly from Sketch. You can use the mirror here, and there is a Sketch Mirror app that you can download from the App Store, and you can go to this Sketch Mirror app, and as you see, we have all those screens, and you can switch through the screens. And if you design something, if you decide that, for example, this clock, I don't know, maybe let's make this hour more human-friendly, maybe like so, and you see it changed on the phone. So can it even go better from there? It's like it's magic. It doesn't require any cables. It works over Wi-Fi. It's amazing, okay? But that's not enough. I'm going to show you something more. If you take a look at this options of Marvel app, you have this play button here. So you can play the prototype directly from Sketch, and now it goes from Marvel. So it's clickable, okay? So it works as we said in Marvel. And also, we can record it right now. So we can click record, and let's start recording, and then go to some other screens. Okay, this screen, that screen, and this one. And now let's stop recording, and let's save it. Maybe recording movie. Okay, that's fine. We're going to use it later, okay? Right now, I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to create a new project in Sketch. So Command N. And let me scale this window. Now we're going to use even more plugins, and you better sit down because you won't believe it. You just watch it once, then watch it again and again and again. So let's turn on the Crafts plugin. I'm going to toggle the panel for Envision Crafts plugin and also Animas plugin. You can easily download them for free. And now let's create a simple layout. So first rectangle, it will be grayish with some border radius maybe. And we're going to do also an oval, and this will be our avatar, and also a text frame. Okay, this text frame I want to fill with some dummy text, but not just lorem ipsum. I'm going to use Crafts plugin to fill the content for me. I'm going to do custom type with a headline, and you can do whatever you please. For example, travel. Okay. Now let's select both of these layers and use this Anima Auto Layout plugin. I'm gonna do something that's called a stacked group. So we're gonna start with the stacked group, and you can align those items. So we can align them center, or maybe like this, or maybe center. Okay. Now let's select one layer and try to change the position. As you see, it switches. It can switch positions. So it can be on the left, on the right. So we have our first stacked group. We can select this guy, maybe, yeah, like this, and create another stacked group. So yeah, let's group it to the left, maybe. So we have one stacked group. We want to multiply it. So let's go to this Crafts plugin multiply options. We have duplicate here. We can select vertical and horizontal. And now let's go and select duplicate content. And if we do that, nothing happens because we have only one copy, but we have this duplicate control layer, and we can take this layer, make it bigger, and we have duplicates. We can change the gutter like so. And let's select all of those groups right now and create another auto layouts stack. So we're going to stack them to left. And now we can go to this stacked group, to this duplicate control, turn off vertical, and we're going to do horizontal copies. And let's make it wider. Okay, we have the copies, and let's make the gutter bigger. And can you see that? It really works. It's amazing. It's amazing. I know you know that, okay? So take a look at the titles. We set the title once to be dynamic from this Craft plugin, and the duplicates, that they have different titles, okay? That's really cool. So let's fill it with even more content. I'm going to use just Command-Shift to select all of the layers I want to fill with some dummy content, and let's start with the avatars. Now let's go to some other plugins. I love plugins, I know. That's Content Generator. I have persona here, and I have photos, and I can go female, male, or maybe let's go neutral. I don't know what it does, but yeah, let's risk it. Let's go neutral. And there you go, you have avatars, okay? Now let's select all of the shapes. So let's use this Command and Shift again to select all the rectangles I have here. And let's go to Crafts plugin, and we have this fill with this dummy content. We have photos here. You can select beach photos or kids photos or your photos from Dropbox and stuff, but you can go unsplash, and you can select cats, which are the best. Of course, we have an option to place photos of cats into every single thing. So there you have it. And you think it's enough? No, it's not enough. I'm not done, because you remember we did those tagged groups, and we stacked the groups all together with the vertical flow. So if you select a group like this, you can take the stacked group and let's say, oh, I want it there. Okay, so let's put it there, and everything comes below. And let's change the position of this one. Okay, maybe let's change the text. Okay, let's change the text. This text is too short. Your client demands that there is more text. Okay, so you need to do more text, and then he wants it back because he doesn't like the text. So let's turn it back. But everything works, and this is how you get to love your clients back. Okay, so now you can select the group and take a look at this. If I scale, it's amazing. Oh, if I scale the group, it scales. It behaves the way it should. You don't have to, like, I don't know, make 1,000 clicks in Photoshop. So you can do it like this. And if you decide you need to change this tag group somehow, maybe you want an iPhone layout. So let's imagine this is an iPad layout. So let's make an iPad version of it. So where is the iPad? iPad Pro, okay. So we have an iPad version of our group. Let's do it like so, and make it smaller and make it bigger. But then you decide you also want an iPhone version, and you decide to create a new artboard. So let's select iPhone 7. And if you have this iPhone 7, you can take whatever stack you wish, or you can take them all, but you can take one and copy it, then paste it on your iPhone 7 and put it there. Let's make this artboard bigger by just multiplying its height by 2. And let's take this stack and make it bigger and wider, and just make it fit. Okay? And it's that simple. If you decide that you want to test this iPhone version not vertically but horizontally, just make an orientation horizontal, maybe duplicate it and make horizontal copy. And now go to the stack. So select the stack group and go to Anima's auto layout options. You have the stack already done, so you can access it options here, and you can change from vertical to horizontal, and it really works. Okay, so it works. So you can go with an iPhone. You can just make it a little bit bigger. So this is how you use Sketch and InVision's Craft and Anima's Launchpad and all the other plugins to make Christmas every day. Okay, now I'm too excited. So let me show you a bonus tip. Okay, I'll delete this third screen and let me do an artboard of responsive web. I have desktop version here. Let's use desktop HD, and let's bring it here. Let's paste the things that we have here. Let's make it bigger, and let's make our group bigger as well. So we can set it for our desktop version. And now with Anima's Launchpad section, we will create a website from Sketch. You heard me correct. This is a website that we're going to make out of our Sketch project. And it will be responsive because we have this desktop, tablet, and iPhone version. So let's select desktop, and you have something like this little create link element. Also add artboard breakpoints, and we're going to use these breakpoints to set the different sizes of our HD website. So we're going to connect it to this second screen, and we're going to use it again, and we're going to connect this to the third screen. So this way we made some breakpoints for our desktop version of a website. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit, and now let's select all of the groups, just move them a bit lower because I need this place to paste some buttons. I'm not going to do them from scratch, but I'm going to paste a ready-made button, and I'm going to show you this button. This looks like a normal button, but it's not. It's a Sketch button made out of this auto layouts stacks. And so what's so special about it? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to set the text to cats and dogs, and I'm going to click outside, and voila, there you go. You must be thinking, what happened? Okay, so yeah, I suggest you make a 10-second silence because the standard stupid button just died. Okay. And there you have it. You have these dynamic buttons, and they are so cool. So why don't we make more? Why don't we make grid and say 5 buttons, please? 12 pixels margin, that's fine. Make grid, and we have 5 buttons. Then select the text within those buttons, and maybe go back to this craft plugin that will allow you to set the type, for example, names, dates, or whatever you wish. But you can also set this to JSON, to go to this JSON tab, and now you can enter the URL to your web service, to an actual feed of the data. So for example, I go to Spotify's API, I import, and I have the data from the API, and this is a JSON file, and this is Avicii's info. Okay, so what I can do, I have all those buttons selected. I have click on, for example, first item here, and take a look. Now this is really huge because now you can work on the real data in your design workflow. So you can take the data from your application, you can take a JSON file, API file from your developer, and you can load this data straight into your design workflow. So no more dummy text, no more lorem ipsums, no more stupid images. You get everything you have in your application and do a beautiful redesign of the real data. Okay, so let's zoom out and let's go further. Let's duplicate this desktop HD screen. Let's maybe put it somewhere here. And let me just change the data. So let me select all of those items and fill it with some different pictures. Let's use custom and photos and maybe, okay, nature. So we have to wait until those images are loaded and we have nature. So this will be my second page. And I can link to that page from whatever I wish. So for example, let's link from this very last button. I select the button and I go to this Anima Launchpad thing and I click on the Create Link button. Now I can create a link between this button and this page. So I link to this page, the link was created, and I have my simple website ready to go. So when you do a little tweaks and you're ready with your website, you can simply click on this little rocket icon, and then it will upload all of the assets to this Anima cloud and generate a link for you so that you can preview your website. And I'm not going to do it right now because it takes a little while, but I encourage you to try it and just do it on your own. So I'm going to show you one last thing in this movie. Okay, now I hope that you remember that we recorded this prototype from Marvel. And now we can open this recording with Photoshop. We can go to Timeline, and you see the Timeline panel lets us preview our recording. And here I have some fancy mock-up with the hand and iPhone that I can select, and I can open the object, and our recording can go straight to this object, and we can put it there. We can make it smaller, so use the transformation in Photoshop, and yeah, just put it there and accept it, then create video timeline and save it. Now I can go back to my prototype and create video timeline here as well, and now, as you can see, things are moving, okay? So you can create this stunning prototype. You can export it from Photoshop as a GIF and, for example, put it on Behance as a presentation, or just send it to your client, and it works really, really nice and looks beautiful. So you can also make something incredible like this. And what you have here is actually a 3D model of a phone, and it's animated, and inside this 3D model you have your live mockup, and you can export it. Right now in Photoshop it's not very fast, it's very slow, but when you export it, you get the whole experience of everything's moving, and it works really well, and it looks fantastic. So you definitely have to check that out.
I hope you guys enjoyed this quick roundup. I tried to cover some of my most favorite features, but there's still so much to learn. So please make sure you watch other courses and subscribe to our channels and newsletters. That's all for now. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments what kind of tutorials you need the most. I see you guys later, and happy sketching.